Today let's go through the Peacock or the bent arm elbow position or double arm Croc. So this position is great for working towards eventually the bent arm planche. It's great for beginners through to advanced because you can go from handstand down to it, you can go handstand back up, we can go up onto bars, we can go on the floor. It will help with things like 90-degree handstand push-ups, but it's just a very accessible hand balance. So let's start by taking the elbows into the hips first, so into this position. Now you notice if I do this, it's like my legs are too long for my arms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the knees out to the side, which is going to allow me to get into that balanced position. So as you can notice, my head and shoulders are low, which allows the hips and feet to come off the floor. So if I'm back like this, I can't get up, and that's a common mistake. So what I want to do is take the head and shoulders forwards till it counterbalances the hips and the legs, and then you can come up. Now probably the easiest hand position is to have your hands nearly all the way around to the back like they do in yoga. I'd be a little bit reserved with that one and go somewhere in the middle, because if you want to start to combine it with things like handstands, it's very hard to handstand in that position. So if you want to lower down to this position, we want to be externally rotated so you get the benefit of the elbows coming in, but we don't want to be all the way around so it's hard to handstand. So I'd practice about there. And then all I'm going to do is start to take the shoulders and the head forwards and the hips and the legs backwards, frog it out towards the straddle position. Try and stay in one piece. Try not to go into flexion. If I go into flexion, then it's like my elbows sink into my torso or sink into my organs, which is not nice. So we want to go in the opposite direction and arch and extend upwards. It looks cooler and it's actually much easier because it makes the body one piece. Find a position that's easier for you to hold. So it could be like this, it could be out towards straddle, it could be legs together. Some people actually find legs easier together than out to the side, even though it's seen as a harder progression. Once you've got that, you can make it closer towards the bent arm planche by taking the hands a little bit wider and get less contact between the arms and the torso. So if I go wider here, that's going to be closer to bent arm planche, and you can tell by my voice, it's much, much harder. We could then elevate the position up on P-bars or something like that. Stay pretty close to the floor would be easier. There. Or I could go onto a single bar, which takes a little bit more commitment. I probably wouldn't go this high to start with when you're learning it. I'd have it a bit closer to the floor. But again, I'm making sure whatever's in front counterbalances what's to the back. So if you're struggling with any of these moves, it's probably because you're not committing enough and taking the head and shoulders far enough forwards to counterbalance the legs and the hips. We can then start to combine it with the handstands. Now, if you're going to combine it with the handstands, we obviously have to have an eccentric handstand push-up to get down to the position. I'm going to handstand a little bit more externally rotated, and then as I come down, I'm going to bring the elbows into the side, arch up. So I finish in that arch position, elbows are in. So that's really useful to help you on your way to things like 90-degree handstand push-ups. You could make it a bit more bent arm planche, have less contact with the elbows on the way down to get closer and closer towards that bent arm planche 90-degree handstand push-up. If you have a concentric handstand push-up, you could play with coming from the Peacock up. So same start position. So here, but now pushing up to handstand, and you can see it's tricky because my hands are turned. So I can turn the hands back now, but there's obviously a lot of prerequisites there that you need to have the control in the handstand to play like that and rotate the hands as you go up, or just find like a happy medium with the rotation of the hands. I'd recommend you play with that arm balances as part of your warm-up for your handstands or in between your strength skills to try and fill some gaps and get time under tension in certain areas. This Peacock position, double arm Croc, or whatever you want to call it, is really useful because the beginner can do it who can't handstand yet, and they can stick with these type of positions just to build that confidence and control on the hands and some condition of the wrists. And then the person that's working the harder skills like 90-degree handstand push-ups, bent arm planche, handstand push-ups and things like that, can use it to help them with those skills. So let me know if you have any questions with this one down in the comments. Thumbs up and subscribe would be appreciated, and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks guys.